at 2 feet splits, and they vary sometimes a little bit depending on what the play is going to be. But they are off the ball. They're off the line of scrimmage as far as they can possibly be. When they take their 3-point stance, the tip of their helmet is going to barely bisect the waist of the center. So if they took a half step further backwards, they would be in the backfield and it would be an illegal formation. The reason we do that is because it gives our pulling guards and tackles and what have you the ability to make their movements horizontally, and it prevents penetrating linemen from blocking their paths. And I think that's probably the biggest reason for it. In so doing, it puts us at a little bit of a disadvantage when it comes to drop back passing, because you probably want to make your contacts with your offensive lineman against their defensive lineman as quickly as possible and give your quarterback as much room as possible. And so in that respect, we're kind of compromising ourselves with regard to drop back passing, but we rarely do drop back pass. Most of it is play action, and most of it is going to be moving the pocket either to the left or to the right in most cases. Today I'm going to share with you what we call the keep pass, or you might call it the down pass, and it's off of play action. So the backs that are in the backfield, like we have in this case, we have a 1-back formation. That fullback behind the quarterback his toes are 4 yards off the line of scrimmage, so he's pretty quick. It's pretty quick to the line of scrimmage, and this is one of the benefits that we have, is that our running plays are very, very fast. We don't read the blocking. We have an anticipated point of attack, and we have our running backs go to that spot as quickly as possible. Puts a lot of strain on linebackers and defensive backs, and on linemen for that matter, because they have to react very, very quickly. Otherwise, the ball's past them. This quickness of our offense also allows our linemen, which may be significantly smaller than the defensive linemen they're going up against, to be able to hold their block for a minimum amount of time. If they had to hold their blocks like a conventional lineman might have to hold their blocks, we might find ourselves in trouble because we don't have that kind of talent on the offensive line in terms of strength. So we block quickly, we get through quickly, and that's how we compensate for potentially not having the strength that a typical offensive line might have. Our blocking techniques from the weak side tackle to the tight end is shoulder blocking. This is old school blocking. I should tell you that I learned this blocking when I was a player in high school and college, because back then you couldn't use your hands when you blocked. Times have changed. We do block with our hands after we get movement on our lines. Once we get a player moved, then we'll get our hands on that player, and then we'll finish off the block. Typically we'll attack our shoulders ideally on their waist. And it, as you guys know, it's hard to coach kids to stay below low man wins, but with enough training, we can take let me resort back to high school times. We can take a 175-pound guard and beat a 250-pound defensive tackle with the right technique, low and quick. One of the things about this offense is that defensive linemen do not know where the blocks are coming from, and so it's a matter of attacking from different angles, and where most of our blocking is horizontal as opposed to trying to drive people down the field. In fact, we discourage our kids from blocking people downfield, because a lineman can roll off a block and make a tackle 3 or 4 yards down the field we'd just as soon run past that lineman and be dealing with the linebackers and defensive backs. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about blocking and blocking on a path. Now, if you'll notice in this diagram, we have two players that are kind of highlighted here: the right tackle and the tight end. Can you guys see that? Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Well, their responsibility on the down play, and since we're going to feature the down play tonight, I guess it's daytime where you guys are. It's nighttime where I am. In any case, oh, you guys are spread all over the United States. Yeah, you're the only one mark on the islands. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, their responsibility would be gap down backer, which means that, and both these guys have the same responsibility in terms of their technique. If there's a man in the inside gap, they're going to take that man. If there's nobody in the inside gap, then they're going to block the person down over the player on the inside of them. And if there's nobody there, then they go to the backer. Okay, so it's a progression of responsibility. Now in this case, we have a defensive tackle or defensive end, whichever you want to call them, over our tackle, and we have a backer on the inside. And so, typically speaking, the block of the tackle right here, there's nobody in his gap. There's nobody over the guard, and so his next responsibility would be this inside linebacker. In the case of this tight end, there's nobody in the gap, but there is a man over his inside guy here, the tackle, and so he would block this defensive end right here. Okay. Okay. Well, we never know what's going to happen because there's so much space between these players. Things happen quickly, and things can change during the course of the play. So this would be our typical blocking scheme right here when the point of attack is over here off the tight end. But if there's movement like this, if that defensive end jumps the inside gap of that in that B gap right there, then as that tackle makes his initial move, his step, he would read that gap block and he would take on that defensive end. And at the same time, when the tight end sees that defensive end disappear into the gap, he would carry on his blocking path towards the linebacker. Okay. So this is kind of a typical adjustment that would be made on a play-by-play basis because you don't know what kind of movement the defense is going to be making. But the concept is we don't block a man necessarily, we block an area or a path. Does that make sense?
Sure does.
Okay. And I'm talking about fundamental things here before we get into the X's and O's. But I think it's important stuff to consider. Okay, so the first play I want to show you guys is what we would call down right. We actually have a different designation, but I don't want to confuse you with the way we call our plays. You guys have your own ways of calling plays. But this play is maybe one of the best plays I've ever had. I've coached several kids that played this fullback position right here. And I should tell you that, take a step backwards, this guy typically would be your best running back. He'd be like your tailback if you're running a conventional offense. We call him fullback because that's what Delaware called him. And I've had several players that went from that position. They went to college and played, small college. I had a kid at Montana Tech that was All-American, played there. I had another kid that went to Colorado and was later drafted by the Detroit Lions, played in the NFL. And this guy in the system that we usually have, this guy gets about half the carries, and the halfback, wingback, and quarterback get the other half of the carries. So that's kind of how my system has worked in the past. Other guys may have a different way of doing things. But in any case, this is a fullback off tackle series. And let me define a series to you. A series is a group of plays that may attack different points of attack or may become a passing play, but they're similar in that for the first 2 or 3 steps, maybe the first 2 or 3 seconds even, it looks like the same play. And so it causes a lot of stress on defensive linebackers and defensive backs. But in this case, what we're doing here is we are attacking right toward the tight end here on the right-hand side. And we're going to trap the guy. We're going to kick the guy out that is responsible for keeping the play from going around the end. In this case, in red here, we have this fella who is responsible for making sure that the play doesn't go outside. In high school football, this is a pretty typical situation. And so what happens is our backside players, our guard and tackle, they're doing an inside release on the players that they have, but they don't even have to block them. The play is so quick that the left half side of the formation is not going to be able to make the play. And so they go downfield and they block at the next level. They're blocking linebackers and defensive backs. One of the characteristics of the wing T is that there's a lot of guys that don't get blocked, but it's so quick, it's not necessary to block them. We can get our backside guys downfield doing the blocks. The right guard is going to pull, and he's going to kick the first guy he comes to outside the tight end's block. It's going to vary depending on what kind of defense you're facing, but this is kind of a typical situation here. The tackle and the tight end on the play side are gap down backer, so they're blocking down. The wing back is going to block the first linebacker inside, head up or inside. And so we get a pretty good lane here. This is a great goal line play, by the way. It's almost impossible to stop for 3 or 4 yards. And so it's a play we would use frequently on the near the goal line. The action of the halfback is 3-step motion, and he's going to sprint. He's going to sprint towards the flank, which is going to keep the outside contained people honest, because if they all close in on the fullback, then we're going to run option off this play, and that's the next progression. There's 2 reasons for running option. One would be that this defensive outside backer, or whatever you want to call him, that's in red right here, if he plays tight and doesn't allow himself to be trapped here, and if he's making the play, then we're going to just run off. We're going to fake the ball to the fullback, and then we're going to run option on the outside. Any questions about this, guys?
Looks good so far, Coach.
Okay, well, let's go to the next option here. This will be the down option. And this is where we're having difficulty with this outside guy right here, this player. And so what we're going to do, this doesn't show it very well, but we have what we call a log block. And instead of kicking him out, we're going to hit him with our left shoulder, and we're going to spin him around and log him and tie him in here tight. Sometimes this guy will make a play on the fullback, and the offensive guard doesn't even have to block him. He can just turns upfield and blocks the first person he comes to upfield. But the quarterback takes the ball, he'll fake it to the fullback, and then he'll run it around the end, and he'll either run it himself or he'll pitch it to his halfback. And we usually run a 2-by-5 ratio right here. The fullback, the halfback will maintain that relationship with the quarterback. Even after he goes upfield, the halfback will maintain that relationship so that even 10 or 15 yards down the field, the quarterback knows that he can make that pitch to that halfback. He knows where he's going to be. Okay. Okay, so the third play I want to show you from this is the pass. Now, Delaware calls it the keep pass. You might call it a down pass, but it's the same kind of action. And if you look at what the linemen are doing, it's especially the offensive guard on the right side. It looks like run blocking. But the quarterback will make the fake to the fullback. He will actually set up a little bit deeper than normal and make the fake a little bit deeper. And then he'll make a quick 3-step drop, and he'll either hit his backside split end. That would be the home run play, and he'll be behind the safety by that time. Or he'll hit the tight end down the seam or the wing back in the flat. And it's pretty quick. And I may have some video to show you guys this play here. And the fourth play I want to show you is the counter play off of this. And unfortunately, I didn't have time to actually make the path of the wing back, but I'll show you what happens here. On the Sally play, the backside, which is really the right side here, it looks like the play side, but the ball's going to end up going somewhere from the center outside towards off the end over here. That's going to be a read run by the wing back here. And it's going to depend on what the defense does here. Okay, so we make a wall right here and make it a very tough wall. This is one of the few times we ask our linemen to go man against man against their team. And we do whatever we have to. Sometimes we'll tighten that spacing down a little bit, and we'll make a wall here on this side. Quarterback reverse pivots, and I could go into that more. This reverse pivot is virtually every play the quarterbacks are doing, either a left foot pivot or a right foot pivot. And then he makes an inside handoff to the wingback, which comes around and will look for the hole. Now, the blocking on the backside of this is interesting because they're all stepping and cupping and pass blocking basically. And they'll step into their inside gap and they'll read their outside shoulder. If the man comes into the inside gap, for example, if the left tackle, if his man shoots that inside gap, he lets him go because he'll be picked up by the guard. If the man comes on his outside shoulder, and like in this case, he'll pass block him and he'll run him deep into the backfield. And the same thing is true here. This guard would step and cup, read. If nobody comes, he goes after a linebacker. And I've got some video here to show you on that, and it's pretty cool. In fact, when we were playing Kahuku High School, I made the dumbest call in the world. We were on our own 2-yard line, and we were having trouble getting the ball out of the backfield. And I ran the Sally play, which is not the play to run in that situation. And but Kahuku bid on it, and our kid ran 98 yards for a touchdown. I wouldn't advise doing that. It was really not a very smart move. Okay, so let me share a little bit of video for you guys. Any questions on these plays, guys?
Hey, Coach, I have a question.
Yeah, by the way, let me tell you, this Sally play, this is an inside handoff, and it comes in this direction. It could open, the hole could open up anywhere from the center outside here.
So when you say build a wall, the right guard and the right tackle, are they staying on the line of scrimmage, or are they going up to the backers? Or
no, they are not going to. They have no second level or third level responsibility. They're going to build a wall right there and make sure that this area stays clean right in through here.
Okay.
So the quarterback and the wingback can make their play.
Got you. So they're just protecting the handoff, basically.
That's what they're doing. That's all they're doing.
And that's why then you don't pull the play side guard again with an influence pull, just so that he stays out of the wingback's way, correct?
I'm sorry, Donovan, I can't quite hear you.
Is that why you don't pull the play side guard on this play, then also as an influence pull, just so he doesn't get in the way of the wingback?
We are trying to give the idea to the backside of this formation that we're running pass.
Hmm.
And if we're going to run a keep pass, they would be doing stepping and cupping, and they'd be pass blocking on the backside. So it's almost like a draw play in that we're showing pass, but we're actually running the football.
They're getting a false read.
Yeah.
The defense is getting a pass read.
So quick question, Coach.
Yeah.
That left tackle in a perfect world is trying to bait that, I guess, his man that's right over the top of him. In a perfect world, he's trying to bait him upfield.
Bait him upfield, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is a good play against a very aggressive, very quick defense that likes to come upfield real quick. Anyway, I'm going to show you this in video. It's a lot better than my explanation. So give me a second here, guys. Let me find my my video. And the first one I want to show you is the down play.
Just stay on his feet a little longer and gotten it.
Can you guys see that video?
Right now, I just see the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I don't see any video right now.
Okay, so give me a second here, guys.
Coach Toro, can you hear me any better here?
You see the Aurora Borealis there, Mark?
No, I'm wondering if you have to minimize. Someone maybe a little more techie. Maybe does he have to minimize the PowerPoint so we can see it? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, he's gonna need to minimize the PowerPoint.
Yeah, you're gonna have to minimize the PowerPoint, and then we could probably see
I'll tell
your
you what.
screen.
How about that? Can you see it now?
Not yet, Coach. But
Okay,
there you go. Yes, we can
See
see
now?
it.
There we go.
Okay, excellent. Okay, now I'm going to share the audio here as well. I think that'll work.
So this is Sally we're watching.
Okay, that may not work very well. Hang on for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys can see the still right now. It's the video.
Yeah. We can see the red shirts and the white shirts. They'll look
Beautiful.
at the Raiders or something. Yep.
Okay, this is actually Army versus somebody else. I'm not sure who they're playing. It's going to be down to this side of the formation right through here. Okay. Off our left, their right. And let's go ahead and run this video.
His helmet across. That defensive lineman attacked the quarterback that we've gone out to fullback. This is not a good play.
And try to tunnel this outside linebacker. I can't remember. We'll see in a moment. We're going to down block it.
Hang on, guys.
So on that one, it looks like he pulled the guard, Donnie.
Yeah, I sure did.
Just stay on his feet a little longer and gotten his helmet across. That defensive lineman.
Okay, so are you guys back to the
Yep,
the
we
original
can see
video?
it. hmm
Okay.
So we're running down right here. This is down, not Sally.
This is down.
Okay.
Correct. And by the way, all these formations all these plays are to the strong side, the tight end side.
hmm
The same plays can be run to the weak side. They're a little bit different. And on the weak side, it would be called belly as opposed to down.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, let's look at the.
Okay. I'm gonna try to share the video with you the audio with you one more time, guys.
We can hear just a little bit. It's I don't know if you can turn it up or not, but we can hear it just a little bit.
Let's try this.
The wing tee
There you
down
go.
play, and this is a bread and butter whenever we install our wing tee set. I love the play, and I was watching the Army Temple game this weekend, and lo and behold, Army is a kind of a flex bone, outside veer type offense, but they always mix in some different concepts, and they ran just a great down play. And here we're looking at, it's a great view of them. You can kind of see their line splits, how far their linemen are off the line of scrimmage. Pretty even splits across the board. This wingback is split maybe a little further than you might do off your tight end, but it's close enough. If we think about our rules for down, we're going to see a down block from the play side tackle and tight end, and we're going to then see probably a reach to the right for this center and a reach to the right for the left guard. And in some cases you might have them go right to the next level, but I still want to make that reach step and at least cut off the path of a fast penetrating lineman or a linebacker. This wing up here, his job is to get down, not on the defensive end here, but on the first linebacker that he sees inside, and that's probably going to be number 2 here. We want to trap or kick out this defensive end here. He's an outside shade on that tight end, so we're going to see a block down. So let's watch a little bit and see what happens here. Okay, over here we see the backside guard kind of missed his block, probably didn't step flat enough. We can kind of back up a little bit. It's a ways to go. It's a tough block, but he probably should have stayed on his feet a little longer and gotten his helmet across. That defensive lineman attacked the quarterback. If he'd gone out to the fullback, this is not a good play. Great kick out by the guard here. Look at that right shoulder. So it's a right step, right shoulder. Helmet's in a great position, and he's just driving him laterally. He's not trying to push him downfield. He's just taking him straight laterally. And then if you watch this wingback's block here, he ends up getting the middle backer who is scraping across to this backer or safety here, ended up blitzing and getting caught in all that garbage there. So as he comes through, great block by the backer. I'd prefer to see that be a left shoulder block, but hey, he gets a body on him more than enough to get in the end zone. I had another coach send me some film. This is from.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the one play I wanted to show you. Actually, I'm going to show you this one as well. This is a high school somewhere in Pennsylvania, I think.
From beautiful kind of central Pennsylvania, maybe north central Pennsylvania, and a team that's pretty small school. You can kind of tell because look at their tight end, looks like one of my 8th grade players. And the same rules here. We're going to see block down, and let's kind of advance here a little bit. So one thing out of the gate, look at the tight end, and this is something to look for. It's the same kind of thing you might look at for a fullback or a wide receiver. He's taking a false step for his first step. Instead of pushing off of his left foot and getting a good power quick step with his right foot, he's stepping back, and he was slow to get off to start with, so he's already at a disadvantage and almost gets ear-holed by his own guard. He gets on his guy. He's pretty sticky, but boy, he bounces off him with his hands and then stops, and he tries to stay with it. But I want to see lower pad level, especially for a guy that size, and getting kind of that hands into the shoulder contact. the guard coming through really didn't have anybody kick out, because this backer here played out so wide. And it's a pretty good fullback. So that's a good play right there. But again, the key work I would look at right there would be that tight end tackle kind of blew his block. He didn't get his helmet across. If you look at this guy here, that's where we want to use that gap technique. And it's so important for a tackle having to get more than a gap down to help out that center. We really want to see that head get across, and that center probably needs to do a better job there as well. They both kind of whiffed on him. All right, now let's look at, this is my team at a jamboree about a week and a half ago, and we did down. We ran okay with down, not great. I'm not going to review the rules. Let's just watch for a little bit here. Again, see the false step with that wing back? Stepped back. We want to get those feet moving forward, because he needs to get on that that backer quickly. And unfortunately, he gets caught up. Should have taken a tighter angle in this case. Goes around the kick out and then misses his block, and that's the guy that makes the tackle. So I'm convinced if we look back here, if he takes a faster path, and he can even run inside that defensive end we're going to trap if that's where he needs to go, but he needs to get a better angle of attack on that backer. And if he turns that backer in with a good backer block, that fullback's got a pretty good running lane right there. But alas, no. I'm pretty impressed with the backside guard right here, who made a good effort to reach and jump through and get to that backer. He didn't make a great play, but this is a new thing we're doing. Actually, that's a pretty good play. He got him pretty walled off. So if we get that backer block from the wing back, that's probably a pretty good play. So again, just a few clips. One of our favorite plays, the down play.
Okay, guys, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And so let's take a look at the Sally. And this is a fantastic play. Can you see that video, new video now?
Yeah, we can.
Okay,
Mhm.
excellent. Okay. This is the classic, in my opinion, the classic counter play off the down play. I'm going to run that again. And you'll see the offensive lineman on the play side, which is our right side here. You can see how they're basically pass blocking, inviting these defensive players to come upfield. And this man didn't have anybody to block. He stepped in red, and now he's coming back down on a linebacker. Let's see that again. Watch these guys coming upfield. These guys are reading these blocks, and they're inviting these defensive linemen to penetrate. This man didn't have a man on the line of scrimmage to block, so he went downfield on the linebacker.
Coach Toro asked, when do you call Sally? What key is it? So probably, what are you keying off of when you run the down play that says, hey, we need to call Sally here?
Well, first of all, it can be a home run play. If you're on 3rd and 11 and they're expecting a pass, this is a great play to run, because half your linemen are showing pass blocking, and the holes that you saw there are not untypical. Okay, so how would I where would I call that play? I would save it till I needed it. You typically, and then run it when you need it. The One of the things I learned in coaching football is sometimes the best play is the one that's least expected. So if they're expecting a pass, sometimes it's better to run the ball.
Is there a specific key read when you guys are running down, like maybe a specific player is making the tackle that indicates, hey, we need to run Sally? Or
I'm sorry, Mark. I mean, Don, I didn't quite hear you.
Uh,
Is there a specific player that you guys key running your Sally off of in terms of like someone who's making the play again and again? It's like, okay, we need to run Sally because they're committing too much to the down or something like that.
Yeah. Well, if your stud running back is your fullback, that's the guy they're focusing on. And so your wing back would be the guy to run the Sally with. And quite honestly, and some of the times when we've developed our backfield, we'll make our wing back like a tight end. He might be a kid that's 6'2", weighs 215 pounds or so. He's not our quickest guy. So we'll flip our halfback with our wing back, and we'll let the halfback run the Sally because we want speed. Once he gets through that line, we want him to take it all the way. So, yeah, they have to commit themselves to that stop the down, and if they do, then we're leaving ourselves open for the Sally.
But there's no specific one guy that you're keying off of with their defense, correct? It's
no.
Okay.
I think the option, Donnie, is what is the protector. So they got the down, and then if it's getting shut down, then they're going to run the option. I think is that correct, Coach?
Yeah, if you're talking about a player that's keeping us from running the down play successfully, it's that outside contain guy. And if you got a Division I guy making that kind of a play in that position, then he might blow up your down, but you're leaving yourself open for the option play.
For the option play.
Okay.
Do you ever exchange? On the I think it was a Sally. It was the one where he was talking about the wing back. That angle looks really hard to get on that backer. Do you ever like trade blocks? Like have him take a guy and the puller gets the other? Do you ever call that like on in a game plan?
On which play, Mark?
I think it was Sally where the wingback has to go up to the linebacker, right? Is that correct? Yeah. So on Sally, it looks like sometimes that linebacker that he has to block is so far into the line that I'm wondering if they can exchange and the puller can go up to the linebacker and then the wingback can hit the end or crash him down. Kind of like log him almost. That's what I was thinking. I wasn't sure if there's a call like
on
that.
Option or Sally?
A Sally.
Okay, so we don't have anybody pulling on Sally at all?
Okay, down. Sorry, down. I'm learning. It was a down play then.
On down. Okay, so typically speaking, to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying, Mark, typically speaking, the play side guard is going to kick that contain guy, who typically, especially in high school football, that guy's coming upfield a little bit, and it's a pretty easy block. In fact, sometimes he doesn't have to block him at all. Sometimes those outside contain guys see that motion coming in their direction, and they're coming upfield quickly to make sure that no one gets outside them.
Gotcha.
But once in a while, what happens is you'll get a guy that's well coached and is a real good player, and he'll blow up the down, and we'll get 2 or 3 yards, and that's not good enough as far as I'm concerned. So what we'll do is we'll wrong shoulder block that guy, seal him in, let him react to the fullback, and then we'll option outside that guy.
Okay. Makes sense.
By the way, Mark, I think you talked about one of the coaches you're going to have coming up in the future is from Modesto, California. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. This team right here is from near that area.
Oh, okay. I think it's called Modesto Christian.
Very cool. Well, this is Nevada Union. I think it was somewhere near Sacramento somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, that's the end of my video presentation.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Are there any questions I can answer for you guys at this point in time?
On the pass, Sally pass,
Yeah.
is there a trigger for the quarterback to read? Is there a defender he's keying off of in regards to that pass?
Yeah, I say the first read I would have for the quarterback would be the free safety. And if he's coming up fast to stop the down play and that tight end runs the seam, that's a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, in almost every case, you're split on the backside, running the post behind the safety is often going to be open, and the wing back is almost always open in the flat. So really, one of the things that we like about the wing T is that the quarterback doesn't have the opportunity to read the way a typical a pistol or shotgun type quarterback would have. That's the bad news. The good news is that someone's going to be open, and oftentimes everybody's open because everybody is freaked out about stopping your run.
I like the package. I think that it would be a good red zone package to have all three of those. We got the option, and then the down pass. I like those for red zone, and then the Sally, of course. But
yeah.
Quick question, Coach. Whenever you start talking about running down, other teams start seeing, I'm sure there's more plays than just three, but I'm wondering what sort of defensive front, if you've had any alignment issues or anything like that you've maybe had to coach through, or that's maybe been tricky for your assignments, or have you had to face any other defensive fronts, or whether they're walking linebackers down, blitzes, things like that, you've just kind of had to, that you've basically had to change some of your blocking schemes?
Well, I don't know if this is going to answer your question the way you want me to answer it, but I'm going to tell you a situation we had. We were playing Diamond High School in Anchorage for the state championship, and they had these two Polynesian linebackers that were really, really good. And our wingback had trouble making that block because our wingback was not. He was a typical halfback type guy that didn't really have much blocking ability. And so they kept stopping our fullback, close to the line of scrimmage. And so at halftime, we made some adjustments. We took our tight end and we made him our wing back. And that kid was about 6'3" and about 220. And then we took our second string tight end and put him in at the tight end position. And we probably scored 30 or 40 points in the second half. That big wing back was able to wall off those scraping linebackers, and the rest is history. The kid that played fullback for us that day was All-State. He made All-State, and he went on to play at I think it's Morehouse College or something, some black school in Atlanta, Georgia. Got a full ride scholarship there, as far as I know. So that's an adjustment that we had to make. But the offense is designed just about to take care of any situation, unless they put like 9 or 10 guys in the box. Then you better be throwing the football.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that pretty much covers it.
I should shout out a commercial here, guys. We're looking for coaches, and we're looking for either young guys that don't have a lot of responsibilities that can spend some time with us during the fall, and or we're looking for retired guys that also don't have working responsibilities that would spend some time. At this point in time, it's a volunteer coaching situation. We're actually looking for an entire defensive staff. I'm looking for an offensive line coach. But if you know of anybody like that, you want to, send them our way, we'd sure appreciate it.
Hey, Donnie, can you switch back the screen so we can see everybody just real quick, the gallery view, or is that possible?
Yeah, if Coach stops sharing, it should go back, I believe.
Let's take a
All
look
right.
here. How's that?
Yeah, that's great. Well, we appreciate the time. I learned a couple new things of the gap down backer rules, so that was pretty helpful. I do think I have a new red zone series, so I got that out of there. I think I'm going to start playing with this a little bit more if I have an opportunity to. So,
Good. Well, good, Mark.
anybody else got any questions? Lynn, I know it's late up there on the East Coast. You got anything you want to add or ask or anything?
Right. Well, and I do have a question. Since I coach middle school, we run into a lot of 5-man fronts, and they'll show blitzing linebackers. They'll come up or whatever. Is there any time when you run the down or even a belly that you don't pull the guard? Is there like you see a certain look that the guard automatically knows not to pull because it's leaving way too many open holes?
Well,
Or does that just never happen? It
that's a
should go
great-
so quick that it shouldn't matter.
That's a great question, Leland. I would say that I've never made that kind of an adjustment before. But what we will do is we'll tighten our spacing down a little bit, and especially the guard and the tackle to help from that penetration, because what you need to protect the handoff, and but we'll flex out the tight end, because if that contained guy is going to flex out with the tight end, it just makes the hole that much bigger for us on that one side. Your center and your backside guard have to protect their inside gap, and make sure no one makes any quick penetration. But it happens so fast. It's a sprint between the fullback, the onside guard, and the quarterback, and it is a sprint to that handoff spot. And it happens so quickly
Right.
that hopefully nothing leaks in from the backside.
Okay. We have a play where with the send the tight end out, we call it like a nasty split. So we'll just holler out nasties, and that tight end will go out.
There you go.
But we something like that. All right.
You know, I was kind of thinking about that, Leland. I kind of know what you're talking about. I wonder, Coach, can you run a quarterback down and send that extra fullback to kind of load that side, and so that to take care of the blitzing, and then just have the quarterback run the path.
Well,
The down.
I don't know if I've ever done that before, but it would be a pretty cool play to have the quarterback actually just follow the fullback through the hole, almost like a ISO play,
Yeah.
and get one more blocker up through the hole there.
So you'd
Especially
be
if you have a
plus
good
one.
quarterback. Yeah.
I think that Leland, or maybe having a slant play right behind that blitz, just play it, have the wing back, just change that route and dump it over. But the principles could all stay the same. I think wing T, you're shutting off all the gaps. So if they're being gap sound, unless they're putting two people into the gap at one time, you should be able to wall them off, with the scheme. If not, you can do a load plus one like that, or play action. Like I know they'll have like a waggle and bootleg. Coach, what's the difference between a waggle and a bootleg? I've always wondered that.
I think that they're basically the same play. Now, sometimes a bootleg will be like what they call a naked bootleg. There's no real protection. But in a waggle, if you'll notice in the word waggle has two G's in it, and
No,
a
guards.
true waggle will pull both guards. That's where the GG comes in for the waggle. I don't know if the guy that invented the play had that in mind or not, but that's how a lot of coaches, run that waggle play with pulling both those guards. But the bootleg is also, people will call the waggle a bootleg, but another bootleg would be one that there's no protection at all.
Yeah.
Coach, do you stick to the old school wing T method, old school Delaware wing T method when you call your plays in?
We don't have the same numerical system, but we do. utilize the 3-digit system where the first number is the formation, the second number is the series, and in this case, we're talking about the down series, and in our nomenclature, we call it the 40 series. And the third number is the point of attack or the apparent point of attack. So if we were, for example, and we have a color system as well. So gold is our counter call. And if we were running this play that's downright Sally left, we would say gold 446 Sally left. That's how we would call that play. But I hate to even say that because it gets confusing when you guys are trying to relate that to how you guys call your plays.
Yeah.
Really doesn't matter how you call it, but what matters is can you run it properly, and can you do what's necessary to make it successful?
Yeah. I've always been fascinated by the wing T, and I love the play call system and the philosophy behind the play call system of the wing T.
Yeah.
That Sally you can probably draw a screen up with that motion too. A backside screen.
Yes.
You could probably manage that with that wing back coming around. Or
especially since you're already inviting those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good idea, Mark.
Thanks. Well, guys, I appreciate it. I know it's early here, but I know it's late, definitely late in West Virginia and in the Dakotas. But hey, it's really good seeing your guys' faces. Coach, thank you so much. I learned a lot. And when you come to Maui on a recruiting trip, let's talk. I do think I have some guys that, you maybe can come to one of the flag football games if you're still planning on coming.
Yeah.
And then we'll try to introduce you to Coach Gaskell.
Great.
So
thank you, Mark. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it very much.
have a good night.
Yep.
Good night.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, so April 12th will be our next one with Coach Grimshaw. April 19th, God in football. April 19th, Dustin Morgan, RPOs and wide receiver play. And then May, we'll have Tim Davis, head coach of West High School. I think he's like a 5-time state champ. This guy, I'm going to have him teach on screens at least a little bit. Any other suggestions, or if you want to present, let me know. I'm sure you guys, might be interested. Some of you guys might be interested, so let me know. Or if you have a suggestion, send me a text, and then we'll try to schedule them. So we're trying to have 2 a month, right, Donnie? Is that kind of our goal for now, anyways?
Yeah, for right now, the goal is about 2 a month. At least throughout the summer. I know for me personally, summer's going to get kind of crazy, but we'll still try to have at least 2 a month, as long as myself or Coach Toro is able to kind of head things up. And then once we kind of get toward hopefully where you guys are at your seasons, Coach and I will talk a little bit more about that and see what we're thinking in terms of how many times a month we still want to meet and whatever. So, because I know that you guys that are coaching during this upcoming fall, it gets a little busy. So
yeah, I'll probably be on the field a little more too. Hopefully I'll ask Collins Mulvane if he can present in May, and he's our tribe defensive line coach. He played at Clemson. He was a walk-on, played there for 5 years. I actually got some playing time, played against Alabama in the state championship the year they lost, but he's a great FCA guy. I maybe we can talk to him about having key reads and stance, how to act towards different kinds of blocks. I really like him because he's technically sound. It's not just do this. It's like there's a full system. Maybe I'll try to get Collins to present in May if we don't have anybody else that you guys prefer. So hopefully Tim Davis, Collins, unless you guys have somebody else. Okay. Are you guys cool with me texting you messages and reminders, or is that bugging you guys? Okay. All right, you guys. Well, Coach Hostetter, if you're still there, thank you very much. Everybody else, have a great night. And, whatever you do it wholeheartedly as unto the Lord. And get some rest. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Donnie.
yep. Thank
Thanks,
you
Bless you guys.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good night.